public, what they should focus on when it regards to financial data security. Public entities and company managers have been urged to register with Data Protection Unit, and public entities and company managers, their urge is also on registration and Data Protection Unit department, or else face financial penalties. Now, Baker Birugja, a manager Data Protection Unit, says that every data collector, data processor, or even the data collector is required to register with the Personal Data Protection Unit as stipulated by the regulation of the data protection and also privacy regulations. Take a look for more on this.
Digital financial providers.
The Personal Data Protection Office is Uganda's independent data protection authority. It is established as an independent office under the National Information Technology Authority, Uganda (NITAU), responsible for overseeing the implementation and enforcing of the Data Protection and Privacy Act No. 9 of the 2019. In an interview with the Smart 24 television, Baker Birugja, Manager Data Protection Unit, says that some public entities will face financial penalties if they fail to register with the unit.
Data Protection and Privacy Act penalizes every person, be it public or private, that hasn't registered. We can, through courts of law, impose a financial penalty on the company, but it doesn't stop there. The implications also go to the individual. You know, the person who should have advised the company and they do not comply. This starts with, you know, either the MD, Managing Director, Executive Director, or Permanent Secretary for public officials. They can be arrested and taken to courts of law and then arrested. So you can see the implications are actually grave.
He notes that every data collector, data processor, and data controller is required to register with the Personal Data Protection Office as stipulated by regulation of the Data Protection and Privacy Regulations.
It should register. For starters, it's a legal requirement. The Data Protection and Privacy Act requires every person, public body or private sector collecting and using personal information to register with us. Now, why the registration is important is beyond just being a legal requirement, it helps these entities, you know, fulfill the other obligations or responsibilities imposed by the Data Protection and Privacy Act. Because anyone, when they collect your information, the law gives you the right of asking them for copies of that information, but even telling you whoever they've shared it with. So registration covers those areas. You know, it helps the company know which information you collect, whether from employees, from your customers, or even people who visit. Because, you know, guests or visitors, there is a visitor's book. Nowadays, they take your temperature and it's recorded against your name. So this registration helps them to have that bird's eye view of what you collect, how long you keep it, how you secure it, so that when we give you the certificate of registration, when you go to the other areas of the law, it makes it easier for you. You know, it will be easy to let people know with whom you share it with and what you use it for and those related aspects.
Data Protection Office supervises and monitors data collectors, data processors, data controllers, and data subjects on all matters related to the Data Protection and Privacy Act 2019. It has well set, monitor, and regulate standards for personal data protection and privacy. Asked whether registration of the entities can prevent the selling of the personal data without consent, Baker said that it can partly help.
Completely stop it because registration is just a step, but it can help. How? When a company registers and we know the person in charge of compliance, the point of contact. Now, when we receive a complaint that you believe your information has been sold by this company, us as the regulator, it's easier to reach out to that person to take action, as opposed to just a company operating out there. We don't know you, we don't know who to contact, and we just issue a letter. There, it makes compliance and taking action a little bit harder. But now about the selling, I should also highlight the Act, the Data Protection and Privacy Act, makes it an offense to actually sell personal data. Though it adds an exception. It can only be sold where the person, the owner of that information, has consented. You could say, you want to sell my information, let's enter into an agreement so that we share the benefits. That is the only exception, short of which.
Article 27 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda 1995 introduces the right to privacy, stating that no person shall be subjected to interference with the privacy of the person's home, correspondences, communication, or other property.
Looking that we almost cover the entire economy of Uganda. The office has been around for close to now 7 months. So those that have started the journey of registration, they are slightly over 500. But of course, those who are required to register, who are non-compliant, are more. So we are reaching out gradually to make it easier for them. Banks, almost about 98% of the commercial banks have registered. Then also the other sector that has been picking up with registration, some from the insurance sector, they've started picking up. Then also hotels, they are picking up. Of course, hotels pick up your details, how long you're going to stay, in which room where you're going, and all those related aspects. But even education institutions, they've been gradually registering, and also NGOs.
The NITAU's main responsibility is to ensure that every data collector, controller and processor, or any other person collecting or processing data complies with the principles of data protection and the Act. Bedson Mumbere, Smart 24 TV.